Welcome to our Bestof, where revenge did not arrive with shouting, a slap on the table, or a slashed tire. It came wrapped in an internal form, an inflated ego, and a boss so in love with her own image that she basically dug her own grave, and then asked for a gold frame around it. Our next Reddit post comes from throwraglasseiling. She said, I got revenge on my boss in such a clean way that, for a few weeks, she thought she was being rewarded. The original poster was 29 years old and worked at one of those corporate training companies that sell talks about human-centered leadership while making employees eat lunch in 8 minutes and feel grateful for the opportunity. She was a project coordinator. In plain English, she did the real work while the bosses played PowerPoint dress up with words like synergy, culture, and high performance. Her boss was named Pamela, 38 years old, flawless hair, a toothpaste commercial smile, and the kind of fake energy that made every good morning feel itemized on an invoice. Pamela had a rare talent. She could walk into a room and make everyone feel instantly tired. Not because she screamed all the time. That would have at least been honest. No, her gift was more refined. Pamela humiliated people softly. She made cruel remarks in a low voice, with that tone people use when they think they are being a mentor. Other people's mistakes were growth opportunities. Her own delays were strategic shifts. Ideas she stole from the team were executive vision, an artist. A true Michelangelo of corporate scumbaggery, according to the poster. Everything got worse when Pamela took over the department after the previous manager left. In less than 3 months, 2 analysts quit. One designer started taking anxiety medication, and an intern literally cried in the bathroom because Pamela corrected him during a call with 50 people and then said it was important for building resilience. Nothing says leadership like emotionally flattening a 20-year-old to teach grit. Nature is beautiful. The poster said Pamela had certain signature habits. She loved sending messages at 10:47 p.m. saying things like, no need to reply tonight, which in toxic boss language means reply within 7 minutes, or tomorrow I will act like the widow of productivity. She also loved making people redo materials that had already been approved, simply because apparently someone had to suffer before she went to sleep. And of course, she stole credit with the effortless grace of someone pocketing sugar packets from a cafe. Still, the poster endured it. She needed the job. Her father was in treatment, rent was not going to pay itself, and apparently bills do not accept motivational speeches in place of money. So, she did what almost everyone does in a company like that. She swallowed it. She documented it. She survived until the quarterly presentation she said she had led from start to finish. A huge project for a national client. It took endless weeks of spreadsheets, adjustments, training sessions, revisions. A hysterical client, a late vendor, the full circus package. Pamela helped with almost nothing except showing up to meetings to say, let's think outside the box. A phrase that is always delivered by people who have never carried a box in their lives. On the day of the final presentation, with executives and the client on the call, Pamela told the poster to join only as technical support. Technical support. Translation, stay quiet and watch me wear your brain like it belongs to me. And that is exactly what happened. Pamela presented every slide as if she had birthed the strategy in a natural labor. She cited decisions that had come directly from the poster's messages, used a joke the poster had made during rehearsal, and even repeated a personal example about the poster's father being in treatment to talk about empathy with the client. Yes, really. She stole the story of her employee's sick father to make herself sound human. At that point, it was no longer management. It was moral necromancy. When meeting ended, the client praised the project, leadership loved it, and Pamela got congratulated in the chat like she was the patron saint of teamwork. Then, in a private conversation, she sent the poster a message saying, see how important it is to watch someone experience lead. According to the poster, that was the exact moment something inside her died, got buried, and then came back thirsty for revenge. She said that up until then, she had considered going to HR. The problem was that HR at that company was basically a decorative terrarium. Pretty, green, motionless, and absolutely incapable of saving any living thing. Pamela was beloved by the regional director because she knew how to market herself. She had certificates, posture, networking, and that special corporate talent for making useless people seem promising. So, the poster gave up on the traditional route. That is when the most important detail of the story entered the stage. Pamela was obsessed with internal recognition. Every year, the company held something called the Lighthouse Leadership Award. Yes, that was the actual name. Because in Brazilian corporate life, nobody gets to be just a bad manager anymore. Now they have to be a lighthouse, an anchor, a bridge, a rocket, a toilet bowl of purpose. Always some bloated metaphor. The award came with a ceremony, photos, a feature on the company intranet, a bonus, and most importantly, a direct presentation to executives. Pamela wanted that award the way children want toys at Christmas, and the way coaches want cameras turned on. She talked about it constantly. She said that recognition was important for her career path. She hinted, without really hinting, that the team should remember to value transformational leadership. Translation again, nominate me, or I will make your lives even worse. A month after the stolen presentation, the nomination period opened. Pamela called the team into a short meeting and said, with her gourmet poison smile, that nobody was required to nominate anyone. But company culture is built through gestures of recognition. Then she sent around a ready-made text model with qualities people could use. Humility was not on the list, not even as a joke. The poster said that was when she got the idea. She decided to nominate Pamela just not with the little flattering script Pamela had handed out. No, the poster decided to follow the award rules exactly. And those rules said nominations had to cite objective results, leadership practices, documented evidence, and impact on the team. Documented evidence, impact on the team. The company itself had written the weapon and placed the ammunition right beside it. So she assembled the most honest nomination in modern corporate history. She pulled turnover data from the department since Pamela arrived. It had gone up nearly 40%. She gathered team climate results, which had plummeted. She attached emails in which Pamela changed project scope without informing the client, and then blamed analysts for the rework. She included screenshots of after-hours messages demanding responses. She inserted Pamela's own literal quotes under the section called feedback style, including one gem where Pamela told an employee, "If you are this sensitive, maybe the market is not a safe place for you. Lovely woman." A beam of sunlight in a blazer. The poster was even elegant about it. She invented nothing, altered nothing. She just organized it. She took what Pamela herself produced every day and wrapped it in a ribbon. She also included the case of the big project, showing who created the strategy, who executed it, who presented it, and how the credit had been redistributed. Instead of writing, "My boss is a snake," she wrote something far worse, the truth in Arial font. And to season the whole masterpiece, she closed the nomination with a delicious sentence. She wrote that Pamela was exactly the kind of leader who needed to be seen closely by the whole company, because she clearly embodied the management model the organization publicly claimed to defend. Technically, that was not a lie. It only depended on how the committee reacted to the birth of that irony. She submitted the nomination from her own corporate email and went on with her life. 2 days later, Pamela showed up glowing. She said she had made it to the evaluation stage. The poster nearly choked on her coffee. Because yes, the nomination had gone through. Apparently nobody read it carefully the first time. Or somebody did read it and decided it deserved to keep going. I choose to believe the second theory. Because the image of some silent compliance manager pulling up a chair and saying, "No, no, let this continue," is simply too delicious. Pamela became unbearable, even more than she already was. She started rehearsing speeches, posting leadership quotes on LinkedIn, and treating the team like supporting characters in a documentary about her rise. She sent messages about legacy. The woman could barely return a good morning without making it sound like she was grinding amnesty. But then the validation phase of the award began. The committee sent confidential forms to direct reports and requested short interviews with a sample of the team. Pamela, who had obviously only read the rules up to the part where she got to shine, got nervous. She started saying things like, "I hope you understand the context behind my demands." And female leadership still scares a lot of people. The classic move of turning consequences into prejudice. When the fire gets close, people like that always try to dress the smoke up as injustice. The poster said she answered everything with surgical calm. No adjectives, no melodrama. Dates, facts, screenshots, operational impact. Other co-workers did the same. And then the glass castle started to creak. A week later, Pamela disappeared for an entire afternoon. When she came back, she had that stretched expression only the kinds of people can really pull off. Celebrities on Botox. And managers who have just discovered the theater is closed, the costume room has caught fire. The next day, she canceled a one-on-one with the poster for the first time ever. Then she sent a strangely gentle message asking whether everything was okay between them. The poster said she almost laughed out loud in the office. The snake had felt the grass moved out in the comments. Someone asked why the poster was not afraid of being found out, and she replied that she absolutely was, very. But Pamela's ego was so enormous that she never imagined anyone would dare nominate her. In a non-flattering way. She was too busy picturing herself on stage to remember the revolutionary concept of reading. All the way through. Someone else asked whether the committee could really use all of that in a nomination. The poster said yes. Because every attached item fell within the permitted categories and none of it was confidential. Outside the internal context. They were departmental metrics, messages from the leader to the team, and survey data already used by the people department. In other words, she had not cracked any safes. She had simply reorganized the shelf of hypocrisy. The best question came from someone who asked, "So, your revenge was entering your boss in an award competition?" And the poster replied, "I did not take my boss down. I just placed her in a spot where she would have to be seen clearly, honestly." That deserves a frame. 3 days later, she came back with an update, according to the poster. The award ceremony took place on a Friday. Pamela arrived in a new dress with her hair done, and the expression of someone who had already mentally thanked her mother, the universe, and her professional network. The entire team was invited to watch in the auditorium. Yes, the auditorium. Because when corporate humiliation is truly good, it deserves an audience. The smaller categories passed. Leadership and innovation, collaboration, sales excellence. Pamela smiled through all of it like she was doing facial warm-ups before her big scene. Then came the lighthouse leadership category. The presenter called the compliance director to the stage to announce the winner. And at that point, things already smelled suspicious. Because let's be honest, when compliance walks onto an award stage, someone is not getting a trophy. They are getting consequences. The director gave a short speech about coherence between declared culture and daily practice. She talked about responsibility. She talked about psychological safety. She talked about how the process that year had revealed important inconsistencies in some nominations. and how that had led to broader internal reviews. According to the poster, Pamela went so stiff in her chair that she looked like she had been taxidermied in real time. The award went to another manager from another branch. Pamela did not clap when the ceremony ended. Two people from legal and one from HR asked Pamela to accompany them to a private room. The classic "could you come with us for just a minute?" That never lasts just a minute and almost never ends in a promotion. Pamela walked off rigidly, her badge hitting against her clothes. The poster said the scene was as beautiful as seeing rain after months of heat, almost poetic. But that was not even the best part. On Monday, the company announced a formal investigation into management practices, indicator manipulation, and irregularities in overtime reporting in Pamela's department. That was when the poster discovered her nomination had only been the first stone. Once the committee started validating the materials, they found discrepancies in reports Pamela had submitted throughout the year. That triggered an audit. The audit pulled emails. The emails pulled altered spreadsheets. The altered spreadsheets pulled old complaints that had been shelved. And suddenly what had looked like just an unbearable manager was revealed to be an unbearable and stupid manager, which is always a more expensive combination. Apparently Pamela had been massaging results to make it look like the team delivered more with fewer people, which helped support her narrative of efficient leadership. In reality, it was just exhausted employees working unpaid overtime while she sold heroism in a slide deck with black and white photos. She had also assigned projects to herself and executive reports, removing the names of team members. That obsession with recognition had finally bitten its own tail. The poster was called in to give a statement, along with other co-workers. She brought everything organized. Screenshots, dates, names, context. She said that day she felt a strange peace. It was not explosive joy. It was something cleaner. The feeling of reality finally entering a room where, for months, there had only been theater. In the comments, someone asked whether Pamela got fired. The poster said not immediately. And then came the second update, which is where the story really twists the knife. Pamela was not fired that week. She was placed on leave. She stayed out for almost a month, supposedly on medical leave. During that time, the poster temporarily took over part of operations alongside another manager. According to her, the department improved so quickly it felt like a social experiment. Nobody cried in the bathroom. Meetings ended on time. People ate lunch. One employee commented that it felt weird leaving work without wanting to run over a traffic cone. Basic decency in corporate life always looks like a miracle once torture becomes routine. Then Pamela came back. She came back smiling, greeting everyone sweetly, calling people by name, asking about their families. She looked like one of those soap opera villains who shows up at church dressed in white. After trying to kill the heroine in the previous episode, nobody bought it. Not even the plan at reception. She tried to talk to the poster in private. She said she knew a lot of things had been misinterpreted, that she felt sorry if she had ever been too harsh, and that deep down she admired the poster's competence. That deep down was especially good because if you need to go digging to compliment someone, maybe there was never any decency on the surface to begin with. The poster gave her the bare minimum. She said she would keep the conversation professional. Pamela smiled in that way only psychopaths and recruiters manage when they do not get what they want. 2 days later came the final blow. The company announced a restructuring. Pamela would be terminated at the end of the week for breach of trust, reporting inconsistencies, and violation of people management policies. Cold, dry, corporate. The human translation is, they caught you lying, squeezing employees dry, and selling smoke. Take your company mug and disappear. But there was more. Her position would not be filled externally right away. The poster was promoted to senior coordinator with a real raise, more autonomy, and direct reporting to leadership. She did not become a director, buy a yacht, or give a triumphant speech in the rain. But she stepped into the space Pamela had treated like a throne. And that is already beautiful enough for someone who began by simply trying to survive. The bigger surprise came a few weeks later, when a former co-worker from another company messaged the poster to say Pamela had interviewed for a new job. And during the interview, she used the very project she had stolen from the poster in that quarterly presentation as her big leadership case study. Yes, even after everything, she kept clinging to the fan fiction. The difference was that this time, the recruiter knew the client involved in the project and asked for cross-references. I do not know whether karma exists, but if it does, it absolutely loves shared calendars and industry networking. The poster ended by saying she regrets nothing. She did not invent rumors. She did not sabotage files. She did not make a public scene. She did not key a car, scream in the parking lot, or post song lyric subtweets with a gin glass in hand. She did exactly one thing that toxic people hate more than confrontation. She documented. Then she placed the right person under the right light and let the ego do the rest. Down in the comments, some people called it passive-aggressive revenge. I disagree. This was contemporary art funded by HR. Because there is a massive difference between being passive-aggressive and patiently building, with almost religious discipline, a mirror cut to the exact dimensions of someone's narcissism. Someone else showed up saying Pamela was probably just demanding. But fair that the new generation confuses accountability with abuse. Yes, of course. And sharks are emotional support fish. Thankfully, several others responded with exactly the tenderness that opinion deserved. The poster also left one final response, and it was the best one of all. Someone asked, "Did you win when Pamela got fired?" And she replied, "No, I won the day I stopped wanting her to recognize me and started wanting her to be evaluated correctly and honestly. That is the kind of sentence that makes bad bosses lose sleep and exploited employees open a folder called evidence. That was the Bestof story where revenge did not come through the front door with a sledgehammer, but walked in wearing a badge, carrying evidence, reports, and a discreet smile. And I want to know, do you think that was revenge, delayed justice, or just the universe finally getting tired of theatrical managers? If you enjoyed this kind of story, subscribe, leave a like, and drop your opinion in the comments. Because this kind of corporate chaos always pays off more than therapy, and sometimes even costs less.